You're listening to the Public Health Entrepreneurs Podcast with your host, Dr. Charlotte Huntley. Greetings, everyone, and thank you for joining me on this episode. Now, on this episode, we typically cover topics of interest for professionals who are at this intersection of public health and entrepreneurship. And this episode is definitely in line with those type of topics. My name is Dr. Charlotte Huntley, and I'm thrilled that you've decided to tune into this episode. I am a public health entrepreneur with over 25 years of experience in healthcare and in public health, and I've supported many entrepreneurs along the way. On this podcast today, I want to talk about niching down and why it is important. Now, you may say niche or niching down. I say niche. So it's the same. It's just, I guess, your preference of how you decide to pronounce it. So when I say niching down, and I will say that from time to time, I've mentioned it on previous episodes, and it's something that is, I think of as part of an ongoing conversation with us on this journey. But we're really talking about narrowing down your focus to a certain population, a certain area, a certain expert topic for yourself that either lights you up, that you feel you have the strongest expertise, or you just have a desire to be in that category, in that serving in that special space. However you decide to niche down, I think that it adds to a lot of strength in terms of you may niche down to a really tight group of a tight population. So instead of maybe a population of women, you may narrow it down by women or females and maybe by age group, and then also maybe by geographic area, and then other affiliations. So you may really get a very super specific type of group that you will focus on. And then how you serve could also then be niched down to what you're providing or how you're helping. So this is an ongoing process because it's not something that you necessarily set and leave it there forever. Just by nature of growth, as your business grows, as you take steps, as you have experiences, that will dictate how you continue to niche, or if you pivot and do something a little different, maybe focus on a slightly different population or what have you. But the longer you're in business, the more you're either going to niche down or pivot a little bit. So it will change over time. That's perfectly fine. So the important thing, though, is that you do find a niche and you're really clear about what that niche is. So let me give you a few reasons why this is so important. The main reason is it simply makes it easier for people in your network, so your family, friends, and colleagues. It makes it so much easier for them to refer business to you. So a couple of episodes ago, I talked about, why it was important for your family to understand, your business, what you do and who you serve, the problem you solve. Well, with that in mind, niching down makes it so much easier for people who are already supporters of you, know you, like you, trust you, maybe previous coworkers, their colleagues, other entrepreneurs, consultants, people that really genuinely like you and want to help refer you business. It's much easier for them if you have a niche target area of focus on population or the problem that you're solving. Along with, kind of further going down to that with, of course, they need to know what you do, what problem you're solving in your business, but they also need to know your ideal client type. So who you're serving. For myself, I often say we serve large nonprofit organizations who are serving BIPOC communities. So Black, Indigenous people of color. That's a very specific population and a very specific type of organization. So they are large nonprofits and they are specifically serving and supporting these types of communities. So when I describe them that way, then people know I'm not talking about a brand new startup nonprofit organization or a nonprofit organization that is serving a different community other than what I've just described. So it makes it really easy for your friends and family members and colleagues to refer you business if you are niche down. Maybe it's the type of problem that you solve or the type of work you do or some combination. Like I said before, it just makes it super easy. You actually become top of mind when your niche is mentioned. So I'll give you a few examples of some kind of niche areas, and you may think of somebody that that already does this specific type of work. So if we say that we're looking for, someone who does instructional design? Does anyone come to mind for you? I know a few colleagues who are consultants, and that's what they do, instructional design. And so right away, if someone was to say that that's what they needed, I would be thinking about them or trying to connect them. What about community research? Who comes to mind when you hear about if someone's looking for, do you know of any consultant or somebody who focuses on community research? We've got this problem. We've got this project coming up and we need someone who's an expert in community research. I'll bet you're already thinking of some people that you know. I certainly know someone. I have a couple of people, but one really comes to mind. What about if someone says, I work with this organization and they really need someone to help with data analysis. I work with this nonprofit organization that is serving the Black community, and they need some help with someone who has a strong background in data analysis or epidemiology. Who comes to mind for you? Hopefully I've come to your mind. But you know what I mean? Like when you hear these things, what about community needs assessments? Do you know any consultants that do that? I specifically know two that is the only thing that they target through their business. And they actually target in 2 different regions of the country. So depending on who's asking, would determine who I would recommend to them. So that is what I mean. Like you want to be niche and top of mind when people are in conversations. You'd be surprised how often these things come up. I often have people reach out to me and ask for a specific type of consultant, or they're looking for, someone to help with a specific need, because I think they just know that I know a lot of people who are public health entrepreneurs. So being able to niche down helps your close community know how to refer you business, and you become top of mind for them when your niche area is mentioned. If you're too broad, it becomes difficult for your network to know who to refer to you. If you just say, oh, I'm a public health consultant, and they kind of know what that is, but they really don't know what you do, then they don't know how to refer people to you. They don't know exactly, you may end up finding yourself in conversations or meetings with people, and then you get 30 minutes into it and realize that it's not even something that you can help them with. But if you're niched and it starts from that niche area, the meeting does, you're matched with someone, or someone's referred to you who is, potential good match, then the conversation is completely different. Oftentimes, if your friends and colleagues and network is not referring people your way, then that may be something to think about. Your positioning, as my coach would say. But have you niched down, and is it really clear the type of population that you're serving, or the type of organization you really want to support, or specifically the type of work that you're doing, the problem that you're solving? Is that clear enough? So niching down is really important for a lot of these reasons. It's much easier also to build a team when you are a little bit more positioned and niched, because if you think about it, if you're doing community needs assessments, and that is all you do, and you serve a specific type of organization, like maybe the health departments in your area to do their community needs assessments, then you really, if you're repeating these type of projects, it's going to feel very different from organization to organization, but you'll have a good, strong sense of the type of team it will take to complete that project. So you'll know what team members you'll need. You'll know how many projects they can handle. So you'll easily can start to grow or scale from there from a niche perspective. It's easier to build team and to scale and grow when you are doing something very niched and targeted. It's also easier to become more specialized and premium, really thought of as a premium resource. So think of it as with the healthcare analogy. So if you think of healthcare, this is the equivalent of going from a general practitioner to a specialist, like a cardiologist, for example. So that is, if you're niched down, more specialized, then you're also viewed as being more premium as well. Okay, so I've covered a lot. Feel free to rewind back if you need to. But I just wanted to share with you plant a few ideas in your mind to help you understand the importance of niching, because I do see, especially with consultants or entrepreneurs, as they get started, they are a little more broad, or we're testing things out because we're not really sure what's working. I know that even when it comes down to something like with a podcast, you may be really broad at the beginning, but you really want to be kind of niched, because that's who you want to attract, a certain type of listener who's going to be interested in the topics that you cover. from episode to episode. So maybe not every single episode, but generally speaking, those topics are of interest to them, as opposed to being one episode might be about food blogging. The next episode may be about something completely different. And then you cycle around with so many different things without, really niching it down and targeting a topic or something very specific, certain type of people or professionals. So we do a lot of this type of work in our mastermind program because it's one of the important things as our members of the program, those that are really growing their business and they've gotten past that initial, when you first get those handful of clients at the beginning, you're busy, you're doing all sorts of work, and then you start to want to niche down because you realize, I don't want to do as much of this project anymore, but I love this one over here. I want to do more of that. So you kind of go through that phase, and then a lot of times they're feeling a little overwhelmed because they're super busy and they want to know, how do I specialize a little bit more? So we go through these exercises and really helping people to niche down. Like I said, it's something that it's an ongoing conversation. You just don't set it one time and forget it. It is something that it goes on and on as your business evolves. So we have, like I said, this great mastermind group program that is best suited for established public health entrepreneurs. We work together online and we also gather together in person twice a year. And it's for a 2-day retreat each time. So we have entrepreneurs from all over the US, all different types of business models, but we're all under this public health umbrella. So enrollment is open twice a year, and we only invite those people who have submitted an application. So if you are interested and you think you might like to know more about this and perhaps apply, then we invite you to visit publichealthentrepreneurs.com. You can learn all about the Mastermind Group program and submit your application. We will follow up with you and make sure that all of your questions are answered. And if it's a good fit, then we invite you to join us during that open enrollment time. You can find the links to our site also in the description for this episode. All right, everyone. Until next time, have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you for listening. Visit publichealthentrepreneurs.com to learn more.